All right, let's take a look at Magic in 2nd edition, Burrows and Badgers. It's been quite a large expansion of the Magic in this game. And in order to use your Magic, you have to take an action called a cast. And you have to declare which spell you're attempting. And if it's listed as a shooting spell, the casting model cannot be within 2 inches of an enemy model. All other spells may be cast without regard to the proximity of enemy models. If the spell targets any model other than the caster themselves, then they must check that they have line of sight to their target model. If they have clear line of sight, they may continue with the cast action. If they have partial line of sight, they may continue with the cast action, but their roll will have a -2 modifier. If they have no line of sight, the cast action ends. If the spell's description has a range listed, they must check that the target model is within range of the spell they are using. And there's a note here. For spells that affect multiple models or a whole band, only one of the models needs to be within the line of sight and range. If the spell lists ingredients that provide benefits and the caster wishes to use more, or if the caster wishes to use a fate point to cast a more powerful version, then that must be declared. Whether the spell is cast successfully or not, any ingredients or fate points declared are considered used and must be removed from the model's roster. And there's another note here, you can use multiple ingredients on a single cast if you wish to. And then you make a roll off. The casting model rolls the appropriate stat, either fortitude or presence, depending on the magical archetype they're using, plus and or minus any modifiers that apply. All spells have a difficulty value, so compare the casting model's cast total to the spell's difficulty, and if the total is equal to or lower than the difficulty, the cast action fails. If the cast total is higher, the cast action succeeds. Work out the result of the roll-off if needed. This will depend on the spell being cast. For example, subtract the spell's difficulty from the casting model's cast total. Apply the effects of the spell as given in the spell's description. So armor also affects magic use. It interferes with the beast's ability to cast spells. A magic user wearing armor suffers a penalty to all magic-related fortitude and presence roll-offs equal to the armor's tough bonus. For example, a wizard wearing light armor gains tough 1 but suffers a -1 penalty to magic-related roll-offs as a result. Height advantage must also be taken into consideration. For most spells, there is no benefit to being higher than the target model. If the spell is listed as a shooting spell, however, then it is treated the same as any other missile. If a model making a cast action using a shooting spell has an elevated position, they gain an advantage. For every full 2 inches that the casting model's base is higher than the target model's base, the casting model gains a +1 bonus to the cast roll-off to a maximum of +3. And then you also have casting spells at fighting models. For most spells, you may cast freely at any model, subject to the usual range and line of sight requirements. If the spell is listed as a shooting spell, however, then it is treated the same as any other missile. So if the target model is in base contact with one or more of the casting player's models, they may be targeted, but the casting player must roll a d6. On a roll of 3 to 6, cast is normal. On a roll of 1 or 2, the spell has gone astray. The targeted player may choose which of the models in base contact is now the target. Roll the roll-off as normal and apply any damage caused. So that just covers the basic action requirements for casting Magic in Burrows and Badgers. Now next I'm going to take a look at some of these spells. There's a whole bunch of them now.